Listen closely. There are days when the world feels heavy with mystery, days that carry whispers, stirring fear in the hearts of many. September 23rd is one of those days. People speak of signs, of rapture, of something coming. But let me share a truth the masses often overlook. The greatest upheaval is not in the sky above or the earth beneath. It begins within you. The real rapture is not an escape from this world. It is an awakening of spirit. When the noise of the crowd rises, when fear spreads like wildfire, you are faced with a choice. Will you be swept away by the voices around you, or will you anchor yourself in silence, in mastery, in presence? In this video, I will guide you through principles the chosen must understand. Ancient Shaolin teachings that reveal why solitude on a day like this holds power. Mindfulness practices that guard the heart from fear. Lessons of discipline that carry you beyond panic and into clarity. You will learn why removing yourself from the crowd is not about running away, but about strengthening the connection to your higher path. There are stories rarely told about how energy gathers on certain days, how the collective mind can shape your own state if you are not careful. I will show you how to protect your energy, how to harness solitude, and how to rise stronger while others fall into confusion. Stay with me until the end, because each step builds upon the last. If you miss even one, the thread of understanding breaks. Together, we will uncover the deeper meaning of what it truly means to be chosen. Welcome, my friends, to Shaolin Soulfire. If this message resonates with you, I invite you to subscribe and walk this path with us. Some people wait their whole lives for a sign to confirm they are special. They look for stars to align, for prophecies to unfold, for voices from the heavens to call their name. But in Shaolin, we are taught a different way. There is no chosen one waiting to be discovered. There is only the one who chooses, day after day, to walk the path of discipline. When I was young, I asked a master if destiny decides who will rise above. He smiled and said nothing. Instead, he handed me a broom and asked me to sweep the courtyard. The next morning, he gave me the same task, and the next again. At first, I thought it meaningless, but slowly I understood. Each stroke of the broom was not about the courtyard. It was about my mind. Was I able to meet the moment with presence? Could I bring the same clarity to a small task as to a great one? This is the essence of being chosen. Not a title, not an honor, but a quiet decision repeated in silence. To rise at dawn when no one watches. To train your body when it aches. To still the mind when it wanders. To tell the truth even when lies would be easier. The path does not call you. You call the path by walking it. Every act of discipline sharpens you. Every honest choice clears away the dust that hides your inner truth. To be chosen is not to wait for the world to declare your worth. It is to claim your life through action, to carve clarity from chaos, and to stand rooted in your own truth while others drift with the wind. There are moments when stepping away from the world is not weakness but strength. The Shaolin tradition holds that retreat is essential not as an escape but as a return. A monk who leaves the crowd and enters solitude is not running from life. He is seeking the silence where life can truly be heard. In the monastery, solitude is woven into the daily rhythm. Hours of meditation in the stillness of dawn. Walking through the mountains with no voice but the wind. It is in those spaces of quiet that awareness sharpens. Every sound becomes clear. Every thought rises into view. The mind, usually restless and scattered, begins to settle like water no longer stirred. When you stand in a crowd, countless voices press in, each with its weight, its fear, its desire. You absorb them without noticing. Your energy scatters, but when you withdraw, you begin to hear the one voice that matters, the quiet truth within. The old masters would say, only when the dust settles can the mirror reflect clearly. This is why solitude is sacred. It strips away distraction. It gives discipline a place to breathe. In silence, you meet the parts of yourself you once avoided. At first, it feels uncomfortable, loneliness, unease, even restlessness. But with time, that discomfort reveals itself as a doorway. Beyond it lies clarity. Solitude is not about being apart from people forever. It is about returning to them with greater strength, clearer mind, and steadier spirit. A retreat is a forge. You enter scattered and distracted. You leave shaped, focused, and awake. That is why Shaolin monks honor solitude. It is not absence of life, but the birthplace of mastery. Attention is the most subtle form of power we carry. Wherever it rests, life begins to grow. A thought entertained too long becomes belief. A belief repeated becomes habit, and a habit over time shapes destiny. This is why the masters remind us again and again, where your attention goes, your life flows. On certain dates, like September 23rd, the air thickens with rumor and fear. People speak of rapture, of endings, of strange signs in the sky. The collective mind becomes like a storm, restless and loud. If you are not careful, your attention drifts into that current. You begin to feel the fear of others as your own. Anxiety spreads not through events, but through the focus of countless minds feeding the same fire. The discipline is to remain awake, to notice when your thoughts are being carried away by stories that do not belong to you. Ancient teachings say the mind is like a wild horse. Leave it untended, and it runs toward danger. Guide it with awareness, and it becomes a companion on the path to clarity. This is why stillness matters on such days. Through meditation, breath, or mindful movement, you call your attention back. You root it in the present moment instead of surrendering it to collective noise. The storm outside does not have to be the storm within. Those who train the mind know this truth. It is not the world that unsettles us, but the direction of our focus. To master your attention is to master the current of your life. Even as the voices of the world cry out with fear, you can remain steady, watching without being swept away. In that steadiness, you discover the quiet freedom that cannot be taken by rumor or fear. When fear rises, the body feels it before the mind does. The chest tightens, breath grows shallow, muscles tense as if preparing for a storm. In Shaolin understanding, this is not weakness, it is energy misplaced. The body and mind are not separate. They are threads of the same fabric. What unsettles one is felt by the other. This is why the ancient practices of Qigong, meditation, and breathwork are more than exercises. They are ways to bring balance back into the whole being. In Qigong, the slow movements guide the flow of energy, loosening tension where fear has taken hold. Breathwork teaches the lungs to expand fully, drawing life into places where panic has closed the door. Meditation stills the mind, reminding it that thoughts are clouds passing through, not storms meant to consume. When whispers of rapture or endings stir collective fear, these practices become anchors. Instead of drowning in what others feel, you return to the rhythm of your own breath, the steadiness of your own steps. Fear may still appear, but it no longer commands you. You meet it as a visitor, bow to it, and let it pass. The masters say, "He who masters his breath masters his spirit." To stand in fear without becoming fear, that is the true strength these practices cultivate. It is not about escaping the moment but inhabiting it so deeply that fear has no place to take root. Through these disciplines, body and mind rejoin as one. The trembling becomes stillness, the chaos becomes order, and even when the world shouts of endings, you carry within you the beginning of peace. This is the quiet power that has carried Shaolin practitioners through centuries of uncertainty and change. Discipline is not born in comfort. It is forged in the moments when every part of you whispers to stop, yet you continue. In the Shaolin tradition, monks rise before dawn when the body is heavy with sleep and the air is still cold. They train not because it is pleasant, but because mastery demands consistency beyond feeling. Muscles ache, blisters form, the mind grows restless, but still the practice continues. This is how discipline becomes stronger than mood. True discipline is not waiting for the right time, the right energy, or the perfect circumstance. It is acting when fear presses on your chest, when doubt clouds your thoughts, when the path ahead looks uncertain. To act despite fear is to declare that fear does not govern you. On days like September 23rd, when the world trembles with rumors of endings, This discipline is the anchor. The collective mind may scatter in panic, but you remain steady through the habits you have cultivated. Rising early to breathe, training your body, guarding your thoughts. These practices are not small. They are the foundation that keeps you rooted when others sway. Ancient masters knew that storms of the world would always come. They taught their students not to wait for peace, but to build peace within. Discipline is the bridge between fear and clarity. It carries you from hesitation into strength, from confusion into focus. When crisis strikes, the undisciplined scatter, but the disciplined stand firm, not because they feel no fear, but because they have trained themselves to move through it. That is the essence of mastery, not the absence of struggle, but the will to keep walking step by step until fear no longer holds the reins. Motives are like the roots of a tree. Hidden beneath the surface, they silently shape everything that grows above. You may act with great effort, speak with conviction, even appear disciplined, but if the roots are poisoned by fear, pride, or the need to be seen, the fruit will never taste pure. Shaolin wisdom speaks of wood, the virtue that guides all action. It is not only about discipline of the body, but discipline of the heart. Virtue, integrity, honesty, these are the measures by which freedom is found. Without them, even the strongest practice is hollow. Consider a monk who trains with flawless technique but seeks only praise. His kicks are sharp, his movements precise, but each step is chained to the eyes of others. He is not free. Another monk, less perfect in form, rises early, practices quietly, and gives his heart fully to the path, unseen and unrecognized. His motives are clean, and so his spirit is unburdened. When you act from fear, your steps are heavy. When you act from ego, your energy scatters. But when you act from sincerity, every breath becomes lighter, every decision clearer. Wudert is not about perfection, it is about alignment. To choose honesty over comfort, humility over pride, virtue over gain. This is why the masters say clarity is born, not in the mind, but in the heart. A clean intention cuts through confusion like a blade through fog. You no longer wonder if you are on the right path, because the path itself is carried within your motive. Freedom then is not given from outside. It comes when your roots are pure, when your actions rise from a heart guided by virtue, and when integrity shapes the life you live in silence and in action alike. Human beings carry a deep habit of projection. When a date like September 23rd approaches, the mind races ahead, weaving stories of cosmic battles, sudden endings, or great revelations. The weight of expectation builds until even the ordinary feels charged with tension. Yet most of this is not truth. It is imagination. We often miss the simple reality unfolding before us because we are too busy chasing what we think should happen. Mindfulness invites a different approach. Instead of waiting for the sky to open or the earth to shake, it calls us to notice the breath moving in and out, the ground steady beneath our feet, the sound of life continuing in each moment. The present does not require stories to be meaningful. It is already complete, already enough. In Shaolin training, students are reminded again and again, do not live in the shadows of tomorrow, do not cling to the echoes of yesterday. The test is always here. Can you sweep the floor with full attention? Can you eat in silence, tasting each grain of rice as though it were a gift? These simple acts reveal more about awakening than any prophecy shouted by the crowd. Before an external rapture ever arrives, there is an inner one, the moment you wake from distraction and stand fully in the now. It is not dramatic, but it is powerful. To remain rooted in presence, while others are swept away by fear or fantasy, that is the quiet mastery. The future will come as it does, without our projections. The question is whether we will meet it with scattered minds or with the calm strength of those who have learned to rest in the moment that truly exists. This one, here and now. Hardship is not the enemy. In Shaolin life, it is a teacher. Long hours of training until sweat darkens the robe. Holding stances until legs tremble, rising before dawn when the body begs for rest. These are not punishments, but gateways. The masters understand that only through pressure does the mind reveal its strength, only through loss does the heart discover its depth. In solitude, the same principle unfolds. To step away from people, from noise, from the constant pull of the crowd, is to face what usually hides in the background. Your shadows rise, the doubts you bury, the fears you distract yourself from, the emotions you never allowed to surface. At first, this feels unbearable. Silence presses like a weight. Loneliness echoes louder than any voice. Yet this is the forge. Without it, mastery remains a dream. The ancient perspective is clear. Suffering is not something to flee, but something to transform. A seed must crack open in darkness before it grows. A sword must endure fire and hammer before it shines. In the same way, your spirit grows sharper through trials. When you isolate yourself, you strip away excuses. There is no one left to blame, no distraction to cover the restlessness of the mind. You meet yourself honestly, and that honesty reshapes you. Slowly, what once felt like burden becomes strength. The shadows you feared become guides, pointing to the places in need of healing and growth. Shaolin does not avoid this path, because they know true change does not live in comfort. It lives in the heart, willing to endure discomfort, to embrace pressure, and to emerge from solitude not weaker but awakened, tempered by hardship, into a life of greater clarity and strength. Even when you walk alone, you are never truly separate. The breath you take is shared with the trees, the food you eat with countless hands that tended the soil. Shaolin and Buddhist wisdom both remind us of this truth. Interconnection is the fabric of life. Your inner state is not contained only within you. It ripples outward, touching those around you in ways unseen. If fear rules your heart, that fear spreads. It enters your words, your actions, the silence between them. Others feel it, even if nothing is spoken. In the same way, when peace rests within you, that peace becomes a quiet gift, a steady gaze, a calm voice, a patient presence. All of these remind others that there is still ground beneath their feet. This is why inner mastery matters not only for your own path, but for the path of many. A monk in meditation does not sit only for himself. His calm becomes a current, influencing the atmosphere of the temple, the students, even the air around him. In moments of collective fear, such calm is more valuable than words. Compassion, then, is not about withdrawing forever or turning away from the struggles of the world. It is about meeting the world from strength rather than from panic. To stand in the storm with a steady heart, to offer kindness without expectation, to remain clear when others are clouded, that is compassion lived. When you choose calm over fear, patience over anger, presence over distraction, you are not only shaping your own journey, you are quietly shaping the world around you. In this way, every act of discipline, every return to peace is an offering. Your inner state becomes a seed, and the world is the field where it grows. When the noise fades and the date passes, what is left behind? The world often waits for signs, for great events to change everything in a single instant. Yet the deeper truth is quieter. It is the habits you have cultivated, the clarity you carry, the peace you have built within. These are the treasures that remain when predictions dissolve and the day returns to ordinary light. In Shaolin practice, the emphasis is always on integration. Training in the hall is not for the hall alone. Sitting in meditation is not just for the cushion. Each moment of quiet practice is a seed planted. When the test comes, whether in hardship, fear, or collective uncertainty, the fruits of that practice appear. The steadiness of the body, the discipline of the breath, the calm of the mind, all reveal themselves naturally because they were shaped in silence long before. There is a story told of a student who asked his master why they trained so hard for years when no battles awaited them. The master replied, "The battle is not outside. It waits inside you every day, and the training is how you learn to win." The lesson is simple. What you rehearse in stillness becomes the way you move in chaos. After the supposed rapture or any day filled with expectation, life continues. But the question remains, how do you meet that life? With the same restless fear as before, or with new steadiness? The practices you hold in private, discipline, mindfulness, compassion, shape the life you live in public. That is integration. The real prize is not a dramatic event, but a steady heart, not escape from the world, but the ability to walk through it with clarity, unshaken and fully awake. The message is clear. The rapture is not a storm outside, but an awakening within. Dates may come and go, but the true test is always the same. Can you hold your attention steady, walk with discipline, live with virtue, and keep your heart clean? Solitude is not emptiness. It is the place where truth reveals itself. Fear will knock, but presence will answer. So let September 23rd, or any day filled with noise, become your practice ground. Step back from the crowd, return to stillness, and remember that the chosen are not named by the world. They are shaped by the choices they make in silence. Calm, purpose, and compassion, these are the marks of those who walk awake. Carry these lessons with you into your daily life. Let your habits reflect clarity, let your words carry peace, and let your actions flow from integrity. That is how you rise above fear and live as one truly chosen. Thank you for walking this path with us. May your spirit remain steady, your heart remain open, and your presence remain clear. If this teaching has spoken to you, we invite you to like this video, subscribe, and continue the journey with us here at Shaolin Soulfire. Peace be with you.